Split hairs. In this presentation, I hope to discuss how Black women today face discrimination due to their hair, which in turn has led to the unification of Americans to end such practices. Hair discrimination. This is a practice that has existed for decades as people of different cultures and backgrounds sported different hair looks. Whether it be Chinese Q braids, Native American and Sikhs maintaining long hair, or Muslim women wearing head coverings, different hairstyles have permeated humanity and have brought about discourse surrounding them. But one group that continues to face discrimination due to an intersectionality of race, sex, identity, and hair are Black women. Many face discrimination due to perceived notions and stereotypes surrounding their hair. So what is hair discrimination that can be seen today? In workplaces, schools, and other public places, Black girls and women experience discrimination in the form of grooming policies, also known as texturism. It is a form of social injustice that is based on subjective ideas of what professional or clean looks like. These beliefs tend to be based around Eurocentric features that have straight hair as the standard. Some examples of such hair discrimination are listed here. Some real-life examples of such discrimination can be seen when Andrew Johnson, a high school wrestler, was forced to cut his dreadlocks at a match after 4 matches into the meet. Another example is when Chastity Jones was offered a job at Catastrophe Management Solutions as a customer service representative. She was told to cut her locks as they believe that locks tend to get messy. Now, let's look into Black hair and trying to understand their hair. Black hair is biochemically identical to hair across other races. What separates their hair from someone who is white or Asian is morphological differences. Everyone produces natural hair called sebum, and sebum coupled with oil moves down hair to provide moisture and protection. But due to its kinky and curly patterned hair, it doesn't provide an easy path for sebum to travel down evenly. This means that Afro-textured hair loses moisture after washing, is prone to dryness and hair breakage, which is why they sport protective hairstyles, to which we will go into later. Some proponents of, so to speak, hair dress codes may ask why don't they straighten their hair? In order to comply with such measures, there are generally 2 options. The first being chemical straightening. Chemical straightening, otherwise known as relaxers, are toxic. It can damage the scalp, the hair, and cause harm to the body via cuts and burns on the scalp. The effects of such relaxers are permanent. As such, in order to gain back their old hair, Black women have to transition their hair through trims or completely chopping off their hair for new growth. The second methodology is heat straining. This can be achieved through a pressing comb or a flat iron. Continuous heat straining can cause heat damage and hair breakage. As it is straightened, sebum also slides down the shaft of each hair follicle, causing it to look greasy. However, a hair wash or humid day will cause their hair to curl up back into its original form. All these processes take time and cost money. Protective hairstyles. The aim of such hairstyles is not just only for aesthetics. It is also to minimize the damage caused by environmental factors in everyday wear and tear. Some braids that you can see being sported today are braids, box braids, cornrows, locks, and wigs. And all of these options have different variations in their styling, color, length, etc. And one thing I would like to make clear is that some women do choose to do hairstyles that do cause damage to their natural hair. But this is their option, And it is important that they should not feel forced or compelled to do such hairstyles. History. So now we're going to look into the history surrounding the stereotypes around black women hair. Earlier in ancient African traditions, hair demonstrated a woman's beauty, wealth, marital status, religion, rank, and geographical location. They were representation of a person and their self. But the transatlantic slave trade changed this. Slave traders would shave their heads, thus by erasing their culture, past relationships, and themselves. Entering the New World under slavery, Africans did not have the time, tools, or freedom to do their hair that was regrown. During this time, there was also a passing of laws that prevented them from exposing or showing off, their natural hair. In 1786, the Tignon Law outlawed women from adorning hairstyles that displayed excessive attention. And they were required to wear a scarf to cover their hair. Additionally, in the 19th century, there was products such as the hot comb that were promoted as a way to tame black hair or to appear clean and lovely. This push for Eurocentric beauty meant black women's hair became stereotyped as less attractive and feminine, and also attacked their character as someone who was less intelligent, less competent, less dependable when compared to their white counterparts. And these views have carried on with us into the modern world. Laws. There are laws in place that are supposedly supposed to prevent discrimination. The Civil Rights Act of 1964 prohibits discrimination on the basis of race, color, religion, sex, or origin. Title V1 prohibits discrimination in any federally funded program, such as in schools or any government building. And under Title V2, it prohibits discrimination in employment. And under the EEOC, or the Equal Employment and Opportunity Commission, this federal agency seeks to enforce civil rights laws against workplace discrimination. Under their compliance manual and this title, race discrimination includes discrimination against physical characteristics such as skin color, hair, facial features, height, weight, or cultural characteristics such as cultural dressing, names, accent, or grooming practices. They do allow appearance standards that are neutral and applicable to all groups of people. But with employment policies pushing for clean, neat, well-groomed styles, and some schools pushing for dress codes that are along the same lines, these fail to take into account what these type of policies look like for different hair textures. Going back to the earlier mentioned Chastity Jones, the EEOC filed a racial discrimination lawsuit against the company. However, the federal district court in Alabama dismissed the lawsuit, stating that the law protected against discrimination of unchangeable traits, such as skin color. Earlier court cases similarly set precedent for such attitudes, such as Rogers versus American Airlines in 1981, McBride versus Lasoff Inc. in 1996, and Pitts versus Wild Adventures in 2008. These type of loopholes have allowed employers to continue grooming policies that disparage and create unequal conditions for black women. But in spite of all these things, growing Americans have become united in the goal of stopping these discriminatory practices. Crown Act. This law is a byproduct of many advocates, movements, organizations working together hand in hand to push for legislative change, as current laws in place did not prevent such discriminatory practices. Under this law, it prohibits race-based hair discrimination on natural hairstyles, thus by targeting discrimination specifically. currently, 23 states have passed this law, again, as people continue to push for this law. Social media. Social media, despite its many cons, has helped unite Americans and spread the cause across the nation. For one, it spread movements such as the Crown Act, as mentioned earlier. It also provides representation and visibility to those, to Black women to share their personal stories through videos, photos, and storytelling, and giving insight into their experience. It builds community for individuals who felt alone in their struggle, and to find those who can share similar experiences, and builds community with those outside of such experience through garnering empathy and understanding of their situations. It also challenges beauty standards through influencers, as Black hair is put out into the media and being represented in everyday media. This exposure fosters more understanding and openness to their hair. Education. This is a very important part of change, because even if laws are put into place, people will continue to be ignorant to the struggles of Black women and will also have internalized racism towards their hair. Influencers and content creators challenge preconceptions and stereotypes and educate and inform others about Black hair. Closing sentiments. Despite being the 21st century, Black women are compelled by society and policies to undertake measures against their wishes in order to fit in a society that has told them that their hair is ugly or unprofessional. But these beauty standards are what we as a society have created, and as such, it is something that we as a society can change and have been changing. As more and more individuals outside of Black women understand their struggles, Americans will continue to gather and work to support the goal of change, with the goal of creating a more just, equal, and accepting society for all. And this is my works cited, and that is all. Thank you.